Hello everybody, this is Probability and Statistics, Lesson 1.1a. If you look at the blue packet on the front, you're going to fill in a learning goal, and that is I can create a sample space for a given event using a list or by creating a grid or table. We're going to skip this part and move on. Okay, definitions, always something important in math. An event. What is an event? An event is a set of outcomes of an experiment. Okay, an event is a set of outcomes of an experiment. This is probability. We're trying to figure out what's the chance of something happening. Regular English language, we can think of an event as what is happening. All right. Next vocabulary word of importance is outcomes. An outcome is the possible results of an experiment or an event. Okay, it is important to note that there is only ever going to be one outcome per event. Only one outcome. Excuse me. Per event or experiment. What's an example I can give you? You flip a single coin. What is a possible outcome? Well, you can flip it and get it heads. That's one outcome. All right. Next vocabulary word, sample space. All right, this is kind of the important one. In order to figure things out, we need to know what are the total possibilities of our event or experiment. So, technically speaking, we're talking about a set or a list of all possible outcomes. All possible outcomes of an event or experiment. All right, so another example, we had just talked with outcomes about what can you get when you flip a single coin. An outcome would be a heads or you could get a tails. The sample space is both of those. Sample space would include two items. It would include a heads as a result or a tails as a result. All right, so in your homework, you're going to be asked some questions like this. What is the sample space for the roll of a die? Okay, so think about it. A die has 6 sides. When you roll it, you could get a 1 that comes up, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, or a 6. Now, since it is called a sample space, that's a list that you see right there, or we can put these curly brackets around it, and that makes it a set. So remember, our learning goal is to create a sample space using a list or a set or a grid. So that is an example of a set when you put those curly kind of brackets around the outside that you see here. All right, so let's apply that. Example 2, suppose we're going to roll 2 dice. Okay, so what does that mean? Our event is we're going to roll 2 dice, or 2 die. And if you continue reading, it says we're going to build a 6x6 grid to show the different outcomes for the sum of the two die. Remember, sum means add. So for part A here, what is the event? We're going to roll 2 die and find the sum. That is what is happening. Okay, so let's look at our grid. On our grid, we have 2 die we're going to roll. So let's use this top row to indicate the faces on the first die roll. Let's use this vertical space to show the face results that we can get from rolling the second die. And then in the middle, we're going to do what it asks. The event is we are going to add up the 2 faces and get a sum. So 1 plus 1 makes 2. 1 plus 2 gives me a 3. 1 plus 3 gives me a 4. And the nice thing about making a chart or a grid is sometimes when you're organized, you can recognize patterns and you can do things a lot quicker. As we follow this across 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, it also follows the same pattern going down. 1 plus 2 is going to be 3. 1 plus 3, is 4, 5, 6, 7, etc., etc. I'm going to pause the video for a moment to let you finish filling out the grid, and then we'll answer parts B and C. Okay, hopefully you paused the video and filled in the rest of the grid, and it should look like what you see up here that I have completed. All right, next question, part B. What is the sample space for the different sums? All right, sample space. Remember, the sample space is 1 outcome per event. So if I roll 2 die, the smallest sum that I can get is the 2 in the upper left-hand corner there. Right after that, I can get a 3 for a total of 4, a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, or 12. And 12 is my highest total of the faces of 2 die. Kind of interesting here, if you look at it, our grid actually contains 36 different numbers in it with some repeats. When you look at our sample space, those 36 different numbers have crunched down to an actual number or total of 11. So when you do a sample space, you do not need to repeat results. You know, since there's 2 3s, I'm just going to write a single 3 down here for my sample space. Since there's 1, 2, 3, 4 9s, I don't need 4 9s in my list. I can just write a 9. All right, then how else can we use this grid? Because somebody might ask, well, why can't I just do the sample space without having to do all the work of completing that grid? Well, part C tells you why. Based on the grid, which outcome occurs most often? So I'm going to look at this blue array of numbers, and I notice that 7 seems to appear the most often. It happens 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. So 7 occurs, or I'm going to put sum of 7, occurs 6 times in my grid. And that gets us to, you know, chances when you're playing a game or something like that. So, all right, moving on. Let's say you're going to breakfast at a restaurant and you're going to have a choice of drink or meat. If we do a drink, let's make a list of what those possibilities are. I believe for the drink we can have milk, let's let that be M, or OJ, and let's let that be an O. Then after that, you are apparently on the Atkins diet and need some protein. So we're going to have a choice of meat. And that can be sausage, ham, or bacon. So let's put our meat down. And that's going to be S for sausage, That's going to be an H for ham and a B for bacon. All right. So, completing to the reading, excuse me, we are ordering one meat and one drink. I need the sample space that shows all the different options that I could do that. Meat and drink. So what are they? Well, I could do milk and sausage. That's one way to do it. I could do milk with ham or milk with bacon. So one drink with all three meat options. There's three of our options in our sample space. But I also have OJ that could be with sausage, or orange juice that could be with ham, or orange juice that could be with bacon. So how many different outcomes are possible in this list of our sample space? There are 6. All right, we did not do a list of rows from the beginning of class, but we can kind of just talk about this in general terms. Let's say that we have 3 students, student A, student B, and student C. Okay, and we need to give the sample space of all the different orders that we could put those 3 students in. My way of thinking, I like to think, okay, what if I put A first? It could go A, B, C, or we could have A, then C, then B, and I just flip-flop the second 2 positions. So there's 2. I don't think there's any other ways A can be first, and then we can have the other 2 follow in behind. So now let's let B be the winner. Okay, we could go B, C, A, and now I'm going to flip the C and the A and make it B, A, C. All right, we went from 2 to 4 different results in our sample space. Now let's say C, A, B, and then C is first, and we're going to switch the B and the A. Okay, again, how many different outcomes are possible? 6 different outcomes. And that is our sample space. Okay. Now, keep in mind what our learning goal is. I can create a sample space for a given event using a list or creating a grid or table. On your homework, I just want to give you a hint. You will be asked to flip a coin 4 times. So I'm going to make a little list here. Flip 1, flip 2, flip 3, and flip 4. 4 times in a row, flipping the same coin. So what are some of the options that we have for results? Well, we could go heads, 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 heads. That would be one possible option. We could have tails, 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 tails. But what would happen if I had 3 heads and 1 tails? Now be careful. Since we're flipping these back to back, this option, heads, heads, tails, heads, is going to be slightly different than what you see above. Okay, and then this option, heads, tails, heads, heads, that is also different. And then we could start with a tails and follow it up with 3 heads. Now I'm not going to finish this, I'll let you guys do that, but I will let you know on this problem, there are 16 outcomes that you should end up with. So try to organize, when you get big numbers like this, try to organize your work in a way that helps you get all the options in a kind of organized, logical way. All right, hope this helps. We'll see you later. Bye.